Good morning. It's a glorious sunny day in London town today. I hope you're all doing very well. Today I'm talking about what the difference is between a karmic relationship and one that's divinely guided and can last the test of time. You know, those soulmate connections that we all dream of. Yeah, it's something that came up quite randomly. Not that I'm in any of them at the moment, but since I've been on my ascension journey, I suppose the divine wants me to enlighten others on this particular thing. Obviously, I missed the memo on a previous occasion, but it's the thing that seems to want to come out today. So let's start. Let's start with karmic relationships. How do we recognize what a karmic relationship is? What are the main factors that you should look out for? What is a karmic relationship? How can you differentiate between the two? So karmic relationships are related to karma in a sense, because they're thought as relationships we need in our lives in order for us to grow and experience and for us to be tested and allow us to sort of develop our own idea of relationship and love as a whole. There's also a thought pattern actually that says karmic relationships are, they've evolved out of unresolved issues in our past lives. These relationships occur to teach us lessons and things that we've seem to have missed in past lifetimes, help us develop our own sense of what a relationship is, what we're prepared to accept, what we would do, all those kind of things, and what is needed for us to feel like we're in a successful relationship. A lot, right? But I guess karma is all about learning, so why wouldn't we have the same experiences with relationships? Karmic relationships can feel all-consuming and they tend to be quite magnetic, but often are characterized by, extreme highs and real lows. People sometimes mistake a karmic relationship for soulmate relationship because of the intensity of emotions. Both parties might feel at the beginning really drawn to the other and they think, this is my soulmate. But unlike soulmate relationships, karmic relationships aren't really supposed to stand the test of time. They're often short-lived and, just there to teach us a lesson or two, be it harsh ones in many cases. They can feel really passionate, full of turbulence, lots of breakups to make up sex, etc., that kind of thing. And because of that heavy nature of it all, you'll often overlook a lot of things, and of course your better judgment wouldn't be at play, well, most of the time, and that adds to the intensity of it all. Although karmic relationships can feel really intoxicating in the early stages, they are often not healthy in the long term because they tend not to make us feel good about ourselves. Yeah, and sometimes as a result, we forget ourselves. And therefore, they don't last in the long run. So it's best not to try and make any hasty decisions and jump in with both feet. I remember a male friend of mine who had a real penchant for a type of woman, or should I say for a particular type of body shape. And sometimes when he used to talk about these types of women, I used to have to, what are they, 36, 26, 38, he used to say. I sometimes had to get the mop and literally mop up all the saliva because he was so excited. But one day he called me and he was like, you know, he's telling me about all his dreams had come true because he'd met his ideal woman. He's met his vixen. And yeah, I was like, wow, it does happen. He said, yeah, she made a play for me, she came on to me, etc. And I was like, what? I was shocked. But on top of that, she came about at a really low point in his life. And because of this, you would assume this is a godsend, something to help lift your spirits. And you'd thank the gods profusely. And I'm not going to lie, I was also really surprised. I thought it must be a godsend because, you know, she fit all his agenda. But, you know, without going into his business too much, and I hope he doesn't randomly just decide to listen to one of my videos and happen to fall on this one. But let's just say, you know, did the relationship last? Absolutely not. Did he lose himself in the process? Yes, he did. Did he jump in with both feet and learn a really extremely harsh lesson? Yeah. I always remember this conversation we had where he was on the phone trying to justify something she had done that he really didn't like. And I was so surprised by what he was saying to me. I really didn't recognize who he was becoming. And I voiced that to him, maybe not in the best way, in my Azuma way. And it must have really hit a nerve. Or his ego must have got bruised in the process. Because it really did make a difference to the outcome of this relationship, and maybe was one of the catalysts that woke him up from this spell, this love spell he was under. I'm sure he felt like he was under something. Because he was, you know, we all do, because we're often second guessing ourselves or, you know, doubting our own judgment. We've all been there. I was there so often in my past relationship. And I could obviously see it a lot clearer in others, but not so clearly in my own situation. So, yeah, I totally understand. But the other things you might also experience, or should I say, symptoms of a karmic relationship, are you being over-optimistic about what this actual relationship you're in is, or can potentially be. Another word for that simply is you're a bit delusional. You create an image in your mind of what this relationship is, and in reality, obviously, it doesn't compare in any shape or form. Or your own single-minded view of what you want. You think this is it. You might get a wake-up call that soon sobers you up quite quickly. We all do. You go through patterns, cycles of discontentment, frustration, emotional exhaustion. Karmic relationships are also characterized by repetitive behavior. This type of thing that, you know, leads to you feeling really upset because you're constantly having the same fights over and over again. That's the repetitive cycle. You know, couples in karmic relationships aren't necessarily that compatible, which can obviously lead to a lot of disagreements and mismatched behavior, beliefs, or expectations even. There is always a lot of drama, always. But if you and that other person are gonna constantly fuel that relationship with your own drama equally. Karmic relationships are characterized by a lot of highs and lows and high emotions. That instant connection that brought you together in the past will bring together a lot of emotions to that relationship. They can create a lot of drama. I'm sure we've all been there. I know that much. But that's what creates that cycle of breaking up to make up and all that lovely, you know. I won't go any further. All relationships have a level of drama, and let's be real, come on. But most healthy relationships have a minimal amount of arguments and drama, because you will put in more effort. You'll be prepared to almost agree to disagree, or that kind of thing. But if you continue arguing, I think that is a sign without any doubt that you're most definitely in a karmic relationship. Another thing is, you might feel like you're addicted to the person. You were both drawn together, or drawn to one another for a reason. Even if you recognize that it's not particularly the most healthy of a relationship, it's often that passion that draws you. You might even go as far as getting that crazy sort of thought that you can't live or do without them. I love him. And that's obviously adds to your addiction. Or there could be just a situation where both parties bring the worst out in the other. Yeah. This is really quite pertinent, I would say. Karmic relationships have such a whirlwind of highs and lows, so you don't ever feel completely settled. If you're in a healthy relationship, you will gradually, as you get to know your partner better, feel more and more relaxed and more comfortable and more able to open up yourself up and let your guard down. This doesn't necessarily always happen in a karmic relationship, which can cause partners to feel on edge and feel, and always try and protect themselves and be on the defensive. Codependency. You lose sight of who you are and almost like lose your own personality, aside from the one that you have in that relationship. You forego who you truly are, your own intuition, your own beliefs, your own judgment. That voice that's always constantly remind you as to who you are and show you things that you're constantly trying to turn your eyes away from. You try to sort of ignore that voice, and you also ignore your innate self in order to appease that person. Yeah. You never feel settled within that relationship. Harsh but true. This may stem from a fear that you might be having, a fear that if you address certain things that you didn't particularly like within that relationship, it might actually potentially end that relationship. So that makes you keep stum and adds to your discomfort and leaves you feeling unsettled. Or there's always that niggly thing in the back of your mind that you just can't let go of, which won't allow you to settle. Or either you've been gaslit in the past for you to believe that it was all in your head, so you have some element of doubt, and as a result keeps you slightly imbalanced. I'm sure there's more and more things I could mention, but as you can see, the list is getting kind of long, and I don't want to make this video too long. But we have to use our own judgment and discernment to decide whether the relationship we're in or going in is for our betterment, if we're learning the lessons that it's trying to teach us, or even more poignant, whether we're prepared to lose that thing that doesn't quite fit in order to make room for what does fit. That's just the long and short of it. So it's our choice. If you're in a karmic relationship and you've invested a lot or whatever, and you think, it's you're not prepared to give it up, that's fine too. But if it's one that's obviously quite challenging and it doesn't make you feel happy or relaxed, and you find it very difficult, you can't feel settled, then that might be, the question you need to ask yourself. Are you prepared to make room for what is? Because obviously, if you've learned all these lessons, what will come will always be something that will add to you, because you know what you do like and what you don't like. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there, and the next one I'm actually going to do is about how to recognize a divinely guided soulmate relationship. So I hope you come back for that one, and until then, I wish you a great evening, and I will speak to you then. Namaste, my people. Oh, like, share, and all the other stuff. And namaste.